All right, all right, all right. Happy Saturday, everybody. I think it's Saturday, so it's therefore Saturday. I decree it. My name is Mary Cole. This is Good Story Company, and you are joining me for a Facebook Live of 14 days of creativity and productivity tips for writers. I am so excited to be here for the second to last day of our series. It is a gloomy day outside, and I'm just trying to bring a little happiness, a little flavor, you know. On Monday, I had a really tough day, and that was kind of reflected in this live. I keep forgetting to take my glasses off because I'm a vain little creature. I did turn off my fan today, probably wearing the same shirt. Anyway, we're all in this together, right? So I had a tough day on Monday, and that was my day to just be like, you know what? My tip is fuck it. Pardon my French, but screw it. If you're not feeling it today, you're not feeling it, and that's just the way of the world right now. Well, since then, I got my mojo back and got my groove back, as you can tell by this sexy shoulder shimmy. And now I want to challenge you to do something that I think we should all do. And it is a little bit of spring cleaning that I think is going to feel really good for you, help you clean house. Now, a lot of writers have transitioned to digital ways of working, right? There are still writers who write analog, but I have not really encountered that many, actually. In my over decade of working with writers, a lot of people work on computers because computers are the way of the future, and that is what most of us do. So one of the things that I am very guilty of, and I've heard this from many of my writer clients, is keeping a messy computer house. And so, if you're not feeling like writing, you're not feeling terribly creative, maybe you're hard at work putting together your agent submission list and your query letter, which is what we talked about in the last couple of days of tips. Um, I want to give you a small win, and I want to challenge everybody who is the most. I may lose your connection, so I apologize. I just got a little bump about it, but clean out your downloads folder, your desktop, any other places where files and flotsam and all kinds of garbage hangs out on your computer. I have a downloads folder in which I have files from 2018, which is now 2 years ago. Take care of your digital house. Do some spring cleaning, and you will have a little bit less clutter in your mind, a little bit less clutter in your digital life, and a little bit less clutter on your computer. And maybe that will give you some breathing room, and you will be able to attack anything that you need to do, whether it's your manuscript, your query letter, your agent research. You'll need to start a spreadsheet maybe to track your submissions. I can throw one up on social media. Actually, I have one that I like to give out to people. All of this stuff generates digital artifacts, files, images, Word files, and spreadsheets, and all of this other stuff. Take an hour. Literally, that's all it's going to take at the very most. Take an hour, go through your downloads folder, go through your desktop. My desktop looks like a red hot nightmare all the time. My downloads folder, again, red hot nightmare from 2018. That's the last time that I did this. Now, it's not necessarily creative, but it is super productive to try and get a handle on your digital spring cleaning. So that is my tip for today. Very sweet, very short. Get in that downloads folder. That's where everything goes. That's the folder I've designated for my computer to send all the stuff that I download. So if it's an image for my business, a new branding or logo element that I've been playing with, whether it's a PDF I download from a website that is, giving away marketing tips or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that sounds great. And then, you never read it. Maybe put 3 buckets in another folder. The bucket of stuff you want to keep, but don't necessarily need to see all day, every day. Maybe make a bucket of things that you are unsure about, and maybe make a bucket of things that you really want to do, like a to-do folder bucket. All of those PDFs that you were saving to read over the last couple of years, maybe put those in the to-do folder. The files that you've been saving for no reason, maybe those can go in the trash. And the files that you don't know if you need or not can go in the maybe. And then the files that you just need because you need them, maybe upcoming tickets to something, you can put into the essential folder. And that way, just chew through all that digital garbage. You will feel so much better. You will have a much cleaner desktop, a much cleaner downloads folder, a much cleaner sort of digital environment that will allow you to create and feel like you have room. Because the whole wisdom of the Marie Kondo thing, I think, is that we are being encroached upon spiritually and mentally and emotionally by the stuff that surrounds us. And there's a wisdom to spring cleaning, there's a wisdom to that urge to sort of tidy up. This also happens to you, whether you know it or not, by all the digital crap. I have spent precious minutes and even hours in the last 2 weeks looking for stuff in my downloads folder that I didn't think to give a good name to. We always say, oh, I'm going to be better about file naming conventions, but it doesn't usually come to pass. And so I have spent so much time actively kind of swimming and wading through my downloads folder, my desktop, and all of these messy kind of digital places. Well, whether you realize it or not, that has an effect on your mindset whenever you sit down to the computer. And for better or for worse, us writers, our computer is our number one tool. So if you're not going to do writing today, if things have gotten a little much for you, a productivity tip that I really, really recommend is putting some time aside to take care of your digital house. Weed through your downloads folder, weed through your desktop. Screenshots are a huge, I have them on my phone. I have about 1 million of them. I have them on my computer. Luckily, I use Dropbox, which has an option to put screenshots in like a special folder, which is phenomenal, or I would just be drowning in screenshots. And it's all stuff that like, you really want to go back to. Maybe that's how I use them. You're reminding yourself of like this cool book or this cool quote or this cool interview, and then you don't, and they end up in your photos folder. And it's like, to find photos of your kids, you have to be scrolling through all these screenshots that you took because something was funny on Instagram or Reddit. At least that's how I operate. But I've heard from many clients that we are sort of similar in terms of our digital habits and human nature. And so take those screenshots. What were you hoping to get out of that screenshot? What were you hoping to get out of that document? If you need it, put it in one of the 3 folders. The super essential, gonna do it. The maybe, but let's keep it. And then the I need it, but it's not essential to me right now folders. Or the trash. Do a little housekeeping. Commit to doing it. You are not doing much of much if you are anything like my household today. So wade through your downloads folder and you will have a clean slate and it will feel so good. And all of that digital noise won't be encroaching on your creative process when it's time to sit back down at your manuscript, at your project, at your query letter, at your agent research, all of the other stuff that I've sort of talked about over these last 2 weeks. I have one last tip for you. It is happening tomorrow at noon Central Time here on YouTube Live. This has been Mary Cole with Good Story Company. 14 days of creativity and productivity tips for writers. Have a wonderful Saturday, and I will see you again soon.